Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. And here you found the goodest good possible, the greatest show about happiness, joy on the internet. Finding Happiness and Joy with Edwin and Barry. There is no greater show on earth. Welcome. Get ready. Buckle up, because you're about to find happiness and joy. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance, and you have caused yourself to use your most valuable asset to tune in to Finding Happiness and Joy with Edwin and Barry. And the reason is because you are good looking. Now, what's the difference of a definition of a good looking person? Always looking for and finding the good in life. That's a good looking person. So welcome to the tens of thousands of good looking people around the world who have chosen to tune in to Edwin and Barry, Happiness and Joy. And we urge you and love you and ask you, please share this with 5 people. That's it, 5. You want to do 50 or 100, it's up to you, but 5 so we can begin to touch 50,000 people. Remember, the first and third Thursday of every month for the rest of your life. Bookmark it. Get ready. Be here, because the show is not about Edwin, great guy that he is, or about Barry. Yeah, fantastic. It's about you. Y-O-U. You. That's who this is all about. You becoming the best you, because when you are the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. So today, my dear beloved Edwin, I am going to announce to everybody who doesn't know, if you've been, I guess if you haven't been listening to the news or you're not on social media at all, it's hard to understand this, but everybody in the world knows, billions of people, that Edwin's book has just been released. Now, this is not just a book. This is a manual for you to become the best you possible, because the working title is Happiness as a Learnable Skill. And the amazing part of that is 3 words. First of all, happiness. Hello, I'm interested. Skill. Wait a minute. It's not just luck. And it's learnable. Anybody can do it. Yes. So big round of applause. Thank you. The round of applause is not because Edwin wrote the book. It's because he is giving the book to the world. Now, obviously, you're going to buy it and pay for it. He's giving it to the world as a gift. Now, GIFT stands for Godly Inspiration, Facilitating Transformation. That's what he's doing. He's giving us the gift of transformation. So I'm just going to turn right over to wonderful Edwin. And first of all, again, talk about the book. And let's be really granular here, Edwin, and talk about you, happiness, the book. And I'll do the same thing with joy and the Keep Smiling cards and the Ambassador of Joy, and how we touch lives. Give us some examples of what the book is going to do for people and how it touches lives.
Well, first of all, to the world, let me say I was so grateful that the foreword to the book was written by none other than the Ambassador of Joy himself. Very sure, right? All right. So that was definitely awesome, and my appreciation to my friend and my brother, Barry Shaw, because that set the tone for the rest of the book. Okay, folks, here is the deal. Barry has written a few books. I have written a few books. So it's not like we are excited that we write a book. That's not the point right now. Okay, what this is for me is a accumulation of the body of my work. Okay, I remember back in 2008, 2009, going out in the field and talking to people about happiness. I know very little about happiness. Of course, I was a happy person and everybody kind of have a sense of what happiness is, but I really did not understand all the intricacy about happiness. And I was curious. I wanted to know. So I started talking to people. one person led to two, two led to three, and 1,000 plus later. And this is actual interviewing people, talking to them, having a conversation. You start to have data, okay? And anybody that's ever worked with data will tell you it starts to make sense after you talk to that many people, right? And then at that particular time, people started urging me, Edwin, you got to write a book about happiness. I'm like, I have no clue what this data mean. I have no clue. I don't understand. I'm new to this. And they said, but you have the data already. Just put it together. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so I started going to test this data. I go to elementary school. I'll sit on the floor of a class with little kids and let them teach me what they understand about this data. I went to middle school. I went to high school. I started going there. Barry, it took over 10 years, okay, before I got to the point where I said, you know what? I think I understand this data now, okay? I understand. And so we started first just realizing that based on this set of data, that happiness cannot just be left as an emotion. Okay, everybody tells us happiness is emotion. And yes, I agree. As human being, it's an emotion. But if we leave it as an emotion, we go through emotional roller coaster. And unfortunately, that's what most people go through, emotional roller coaster. It's weird and it's tearing everybody up. So we got to do better. I mean, come on now, Barry. If we can send a man to the moon, okay, we can send a man to the moon, right? And we can do a piece of phone. Look at right now, I'm sitting in my own studio, you're sitting in your own studio, and we can talk to the rest of the world. Okay, if we can do all these things, we can figure out happiness, okay? And so that's where we are.
Wonderful. I want to unpack a couple of things here that from Edwin. And that's one of the reasons we love doing the show, because we learn from each other so much every time. Listen what he says to us. It was the process of more than 10 years of speaking to first 1,000 plus people, and now I'll make a funny, and then speaking to 1,000 plus little people sitting on the floor in with 8-year-olds sitting on the floor or in a chair, maybe with middle school, and walking the corridors and going outside and speaking with high schoolers and using this term, happiness, being happy. What does that mean? What does it even mean to people? Beginning to sift through and understand and realize, as he just told us, it's not just an emotion, because then you'll be on a roller coaster. What I am going to give an analogy here is what Edwin is doing is he's putting a rocket ship on the place to be lifted off and to soar. You see, if you go on a roller coaster, everybody knows, starts off slow and then goes so fast, and then you're screaming, oh my God, and then and it repeats and repeats, and you go, it's exhilarating and draining. Well, if that's what your life wants to be, it's your choice, but you don't need to do that. With the learnable skill, guess what? You can assemble the rocket in the different stages, get to the launching pad, ignite, and go up, and never have to experience anything other than continuous growth. Yes. And I think on some level, that's what happiness is, continuous growth. And I just applaud wonderful Edwin, and there's a great word with applaud. The word plod, P-L-O-D, means to continuously just go along. So let's be blunt. The 10 years that he invested in doing all this, he still had to eat, feed his family, take care of his kids, run a business. It's not as if, well, gee, I think I'm just independently wealthy, which he is, by the way, but I'm going to dedicate myself. He was doing this because he knows that this is vital to the human condition. I'm going to repeat this. This book is vital to the human condition, because once you understand and accept the premise that happiness and joy are not just emotions, they're learnable skills, then you can learn the skills. Duh. And we're talking about skills that are not the equivalent of learning how to dribble so fast that Steph Curry can't get the ball away from you, or that you can kick a ball better than Messi. Or we're talking about skills that are available to every human being on the planet. This is everybody's, how should we say, inheritance. So if you be so kind, wonderful Edwin, can you think of one, maybe two examples of how lives have been touched by this revelation that happiness is a learnable skill?
Yes. So we had a press release go out yesterday about the book. And the first person that I got a phone call from was one of a student in my class more than 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Remember now, I said that I went out and started teaching this whole thing, testing it, right? This is somebody I have not heard from for more than 5 years. And the phone ring. Now, ordinarily, I would not pick the phone, but the name was in my caller ID. So I was like, whoa, what is going on? Now, I'm getting this call. And he goes, do you remember me? Well, caller ID will kind of let you cheat a little bit, right? So I see the name. So I say, of course, I do remember you. So he was very happy about that. And yes, I did remember him, And he said, I just saw the press release about your book. I'm like, wow. He said, I just saw the press. Now, we set the timer for the release for 8:15 Pacific time, and he was calling me about 8:45, so like 30 minutes later, I'm like, whoa. And I didn't even know the release has gone out, although I trust it will, because the company doing it, they are very, very
they're efficient. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. So, and that's another thing. You want to be happy. Put your work in the hands of folks who know what they are doing, so you can have peace of mind. You can go about another thing. So I got it, and he said, "You know what? I saw the title of the book, and this is what you taught me 5 years ago, and I've been using it."
And the person is happier these past 5 years?
Happy the past 5 years. I was like, whoa. He said, Edwin, so I had, sometime I like to turn the table, okay? So I said, but what exactly would you say you got from that class? He said it was a mind shift. He said, before I came to your class, I always believed that only the lucky people were happy. And at that particular time, I wasn't so lucky, so I wasn't happy. When I left your class, I realized luck has nothing to do with it. I was like, whoa. He said, Edwin, I have practiced that ever since. So that's 5 years of him staying happy from attending one class that was like 1 hour long.
Oh, this wasn't as if he was coming every week for 20 weeks. No, one time. Okay, this is so vital to everybody to hear this again. I'm going to unpack this. This is an hour class, one time that this person experienced, and he has carried it with him. He's carried the flame with him as being happy. And I'm going to say the following. I use the idea of a flame. We're going to do a different analogy right now. We're going to take a calm body of water, and we're going to toss a rock into that calm body of water. And everybody knows what you're going to see is the ripple effect, right? From the movement of the water. And those ripples are going out. That one person, you don't have to say the name, has has touched tens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of people, unbeknownst to him or her, because he's being happy. And by definition is causing the ripple effect. And that is from Edwin doing one class, reaching out one time and talking about what we call shift in perspective. And that's the title of my latest book, Oh, Shift. Now, I've been working with people for more than 4.5 decades, and I can tell you 97.2% of all the people I begin to work with, Edwin, they drop the F in shift, and the other stuff happens. You got to be effing careful with your F. So we're on that high note. We're going to go. We have a wonderful sponsor that's going to bring us something. I urge everybody to patronize the sponsor because it's really wonderful. We wrap right after this brief message. Don't go away. There's more Edwin and Barry on the other side of this brief message.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card, and get extra cashback rewards? And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. Edwin Edebiri, the Chief Happiness Officer for the world, and Barry Shaw, the Ambassador of JOYi. And we left you with a shift in perspective. Keep that F in place so the other stuff happens. And I want to go back to something you mentioned because it was really wonderful insight. And the person that reached out to you with your new book, Happiness, Learnable Skill, everybody needs to get 5 copies. I said this yesterday on an International Day of Happiness. Everybody should get 5 copies, 4 to give away. You hear what I said? I didn't say sell them. I said give away. 4 to give away, 1 to keep. Not just 1 to keep and 4 to give away. 4 to give away, 1 to keep. Use it. And you're going to change. We're going to shift the world. We're shifting the world by being happier. The person said, gee, I thought it was all about luck. And Edwin has taught me this great line. You need pluck in order to have luck, because the word pluck has luck in it. But the P word is the power word, the positive, purposeful, pleasant. When you have positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant energy, that pluck will cause you to have luck. Everybody knows. You say, well, you're the lucky one. Yes, because I have pluck and I read the book and I have a learnable skill and I share it. Everybody wants to share, which is spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. Let's ask you yesterday. I'm going to date this. Usually we don't. Today is Thursday, March 21st. The year is 2024. So those of you who are listening and watching to this a month from now, a year from now, 10 years, a century from now, know that we've been here and we're doing this to make the world a better place for every human being on the planet. Edwin, yesterday, International Day of Happiness. You and your team organized it. There were thousands and multiple thousands of people involved from all over the world. Can you give us another example of touching a life that made a difference? Was there somebody on the webinar that reached out and said, this is making a difference in my life?
So there was another lady that was actually in the show, and she even put it on the chat, and she was so excited, just the title. You see, Barry, one thing that I learned is that one word can change everything. Just one word, can change everything. You can take somebody from the depressed and they hear a word that hit their brain the right way and they just blossom, okay? And this is why, folks, if you are a teacher, it doesn't matter what level that you teach. It doesn't matter whether you teach in the 4-corner walk or class, or you teach in real life, or you teach everywhere you go. Please understand, I beg you, understand that the word that comes out of your mouth to the ear of your student can change life. Okay, if you are not in a position where you can utter good words, keep your mouth shut, okay? All right, and I'm just saying that for real. So this lady, once she heard the title, when we launched the book in the very beginning of the show, And she said it was just working on her all through the day. So she actually shifted. At the end, she said she's buying the book for 3 children. She have 3 children. She's buying the book. And so guess what, folks? We talk about touching life. It's not only that her life is changed, but she is definitely putting the life of her 3 children on a foundation of happiness, okay? This is what gets me excited, Barry, about this, because it's kind of like when a little kid learns their ABC, is the whole world just open to them, It's like, I got it, So imagine you learn that you can be happy. It's not on somebody else's hand. It's not on luck. It's not on nature. It's in your own hand, in your own mind. Everything changed. And it doesn't just change for you. It changed for everybody around you.
We are here to shift the planet. When I say we, I'm not speaking just Edwin and Barry. It's you. You have invested your most valuable asset, your time, to tune in because the show is all about you becoming the best you. Edwin, I want to share with you something that happened yesterday, which touched my very being. As you know, I have a podcast called The Joy of Living Podcast, and I urge everybody to go to barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE, barryshore.com, or wherever podcasts are available, and listen to The Joy of Living Podcast. A little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half, I interviewed a very interesting fellow. His name is Leonard, and you can look it up, use that as the search. And Leonard has a remarkable background in that he was a Green Beret who was told as a kid that he could never amount to anything. He defied all that, became a Green Beret, had tours of duty, had PTSD, fell into deep depression, came back to the United States and was living in a place in North Carolina. And in this particular small town that he was living in, Leonard also is Asian. There were some families in the town. They were not Asian and they weren't white, that didn't like Leonard and his family. And they didn't just keep it to themselves. They were outspoken and angry and bitter and hate-filled and caused massive difficulty in Leonard's life.
Wow.
It was a problem. And Leonard spoke about it on the podcast. It was very traumatic and dramatic. The podcast was very wonderful. We had over 45,000 downloads. I've had more than 5 million downloads on my podcast over time. Okay. Interesting enough, I posted a podcast about 5 days ago, with a wonderful woman from Arizona. And usually I get a number of comments. I had one comment from a fellow who said, if I would like to speak with Barry Shore, if you'd be kind enough, here is my number. Okay, I'm fascinated by that. Somebody leaves their number. So I didn't know what to do. Then I said, I'm going to call the person. So this person's name, the person I interviewed was named Leonard. This person's name was Linwood. Interesting. So almost sound the same, Linwood. And the fellow's last name, I'm going to say it only because it's fascinating. It's pronounced hate. Can you hear that? Hate. It was not spelled H-A-T-E, but that's how it's pronounced. Okay. And he was the one, I called him and I said, this is Barry Shore. He said, I want to tell you a story. I am the person that caused the pain to Leonard, that drove him out of town. He was calling me because he heard the podcast that I did with Leonard, moved to tears, took him about a year or so, and he decided, I'm going to reach out to this guy, Barry Shore. I called him. He says, I'm asking you a favor. I'm tingling. I'm crying when I'm saying this. Would you please call Leonard and ask him if he'll speak to me? I want to apologize.
Wow.
It will not be right unless and until I apologize. So I called Leonard. Leonard and I have actually become friends from the podcast. I live in Henderson, Nevada now. He's come to Las Vegas. He has family that lives nearby. He's come to visit me. It's just wonderful stuff. Touching lives, right?
Touching lives, yeah, definitely.
I told him the story about Linwood wanting to speak. I said, "Do you remember?" He said, "Of course I remember. He caused me a lot of pain." And I was angry. I was bitter. It was really hard. I told Leonard he wants to apologize. Would you consider talking to him? He thought about it. He said, "Give me the number." Apparently 3 minutes went by and he called Linwood and they spoke for 15, 20 minutes, both crying, Linwood apologizing, Leonard accepting, cleaning it up, hugging over the phone, and recognizing that to live in joy and happiness is the world. It shifts the world. The world has shifted yesterday. Wonderful, Edwin. I'm saying this with deep love for you and respect. I was privileged to be a presenter at the International Day of Happiness yesterday. And I did. And I'm just so blessed to be involved with you in everything you do. And then this happened a few hours later. And I'm telling you, I believe it's part of the process.
The energy, yes.
Yeah, the energy was there to enable this to happen, that hate was pushed aside, love was infused, and these two beings were working together. And it happens to be that Leonard is going to be going back to North Carolina in a few months, and they're going to sit together. They're going to break bread together. Edwin and Barry, we touch lives. And I'm saying it, and he's saying it, because every one of you, there's 10,000 plus people that are listening to this and sharing. We urge you, share this with at least 5 people. You touch lives in everything you do with your smile, twinkle in your eye. As wonderful Edwin said, your words make a difference.
Yes.
I love to say shift in perspective, keep the F in place so the other stuff happens. Well, that's the idea. Use words that are positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, and watch the world unfold. Again, I urge everybody to get 5 copies of the book, 4 to give away, like this wonderful mother did, 3 for each of her children and 1 for you. Happiness is a learnable skill. It's there. It's for you. I'm going to also make mention my books, all 3 of them. Like, you can only have 1, but there's 3 books available, and you can get any one you want for no cost as an ebook. Just go to barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE, barryshore.com. It sells for $14.95. We have a donor that put up the money to distribute 10,000 copies at no cost, and because we're here to shift the world. And it's all up to you. Edwin is on a rocket ship. Barry's on the rocket ship. And people can say, well, you guys are lucky because you're rich and famous and handsome, which is true. We are rich and famous and handsome. You too are, not can be. You are rich, famous, handsome. It's unfolding. It's learning the skills, and the skills are easy. That's the genius of this. Edwin, we only have another minute. In 38 seconds, give us one tiny something that people can use as a skill in being happy. 38 seconds.
So most people think in order to touch life, you have to have philanthropy behind your name. And the truth is no. Okay, you want to touch life, start to learn to be of service to other people. Okay, be of service to other people. Because guess what? You can't give what you don't have, right? But when you start to serve other people, it comes right back to you. It starts to fill you up. It's like what Word of MSC said. He said that happiness is like a perfume. You can't spray it on others without a few drops coming back at you. So even if you think you are not happy and you start to be of service to others, guess what? it starts to come right back.
You smell good, Edwin. I love you. Okay, and then no, remember what we do is on our show together is we do a hug. Hug stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving and service. Down to 3. 1, 2, 3. Go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. And here you found the goodest good possible, the greatest show about happiness, joy on the internet. Finding Happiness and Joy with Edwin and Barry. There is no greater show on earth. Welcome. Get ready. Buckle up because you're about to find happiness and joy.